Welcome to the Refugee Women's Institute training video. During this presentation, you will learn about how to call 911, non-emergency, domestic violence, human trafficking, wage theft, who to call for basic needs, know your rights.
How to call 911. 911 is a telephone number for emergencies. You should dial 911 when there's a serious car accident, fire, medical emergency, or someone's life is in danger. You may also use 911 to seek help for domestic violence and human trafficking. You can use 911 if you don't speak English. When a dispatcher picks up the phone, say, "Emergency," and the language you speak. Stay on the phone until they have found an interpreter on the language line. Once an interpreter who speaks your language has been found and connected, you should give the interpreter the following information. Describe your emergency, your location, and your phone number. Non-emergency. You can use the non-emergency phone line for Seattle Police Department, 206-625-5011, to report a noise complaint, report a non-emergency crime when area is clear of suspects. An example of this would be reporting a theft after the robber has left the area. Other examples could include vandalism, broken windows, or stolen items from home or car. If you are concerned about suspicious activity in your neighborhood, please call 911. Some examples of suspicious activity might be strangers entering houses that are unoccupied or leaving businesses after hours, screaming or sounds of breaking glass, seeing someone forcing entrance into unoccupied residence, business, or car. The City of Seattle's General Information Line is 206-684-2489. You can call this phone number to get information about services, voice complaints or opinions, and compliments or suggestions.
Domestic violence. Domestic violence occurs in an intimate or familiar relationship when one person tries to dominate and control the other person. This can include physical, psychological, economic, verbal, and spiritual harm. Abusers often try to control victims through isolation from friends and family, emotional abuse such as insults, threats, blame. Children threatening to take them away from you or harm them, controlling finances and family resources, physical and sexual assault such as slapping, demanding sex when you don't want to, or making you do things you're not comfortable with. Reproductive control or violence, such as making you get pregnant, forcing you to have an abortion. In immigrant and refugee communities, the threat of deportation, either the victim or the abuser, is often used as well. Call 911 if you or someone else is in danger. If you are looking for services, call the Peace in the Home helpline at 1-888-847-7205. This hotline connects callers to domestic violence services. For example, you can connect with an advocate to get help finding shelter, counseling, civil, legal, and food assistance. The Peace in the Home helpline is available in 14 different languages. When you call, you will be greeted in English along with 4 different language groups, followed by a list of 14 individual languages. After selecting the most appropriate language option, you will then be connected with the community-based agency and someone who speaks your language to help you. Human trafficking. Human trafficking occurs when anyone forces you to work against your own will. Victims of trafficking are often immigrant women and children, but can also be men. These conditions could include if someone is not free to leave or come and go as they wish, whether someone else is in control of your documents, for example, your visa, your passport, or your personal identification. There are extreme restrictions at work. You get no breaks and work long hours. If your employer is abusing you or forcing you to have sex. If you are being watched so that you cannot leave. If someone has prohibited you from speaking with others, or if you are working under threat to your family or yourself. If these things have happened to you or someone else, please call 911 to report a case of human trafficking. If you are nervous about calling the police, try calling the Polaris hotline at 1-888-373-7888. The Polaris Hotline is a national toll-free hotline that is available in more than 200 different languages. You can call them to report a tip or request social services for victims and survivors of human trafficking.
Wage theft. Wage theft is when your employer refuses to pay you your wages or pays you less than you are owed. Wage theft is a serious problem in construction, janitorial, restaurant, and other jobs. Regardless of immigration status, everyone has the right to be paid the wages owed to them. When you are hired, your employer also must give you information in writing showing the amount of your wages, when you are supposed to receive your wages, and your employer's name and address. Wage theft includes forcing employees to work without paying them for that time, not paying the minimum wage, withholding overtime payments, not paying workers at all, not paying tips that an employee has earned, labeling a worker as independent contractor rather than an employee to avoid paying minimum wage, overtime, and benefits. If your employer refuses to pay you, the City of Seattle can help you receive your unpaid wages. You can file a report up to 3 years after the incident. Call the Seattle Office of Civil Rights at 206-684-4500 to report wage theft in the City of Seattle.
Who to call for basic needs. You could call 211 for help finding local resources. After you dial 211, press 5 to find an interpreter. This hotline will connect you with local community organizations that can provide critical services, such as food and nutritional programs, shelter and housing, emergency information and disaster relief, employment and educational opportunities, health care, and safe path out of domestic violence and abuse.
Know your rights. When a police officer comes to your home, you do not have to let them inside, unless they have a search warrant. A search warrant is a document authorized by a judge to give the police department permission to search your home or property. If they do not have a warrant and you do not want them to come inside, you may greet them outside of your home. You can also talk through the opening of your door with the chain locked. When the police come to your home, this does not always mean that you are in trouble. The police could be there because of a crime in your neighborhood or a noise complaint. If you are stopped by a police officer, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to refuse a search of your body and property. If you are not under arrest, you may calmly leave. If you are under arrest, ask for an attorney immediately. Even if you are not a U.S. citizen, you may still ask for an interpreter and an attorney because you have constitutional rights.